Walking with Dinosaurs is a 1999 documentary series by the BBC. This series follows dinosaurs all across the Triassic, Jurassic, and Cretaceous period, and we explore how their lives might have been. I grew up with this series. I remember watching all these episodes on YouTube when other accounts would upload them for free, and I was always enthralled by many of these clips of dinosaurs just roaming around, hunting, eating, acting like how dinosaurs should act, really. Not just movie monsters that are just out to kill and that's it. This is one of the most influential documentaries about dinosaurs out there. Everything that came out afterwards was in some way inspired by Walking with Dinosaurs, and for good reason. This was a beautifully done documentary series. How it portrayed these animals was really realistic, and while a lot of it was definitely hypothesized in terms of how these dinosaurs looked and acted back then, I still think it was able to capture what the feelings of these creatures would have been like and what it might have been to walk with these creatures during these times. And not just dinosaurs we focus on, we also get a huge emphasis on certain mammalian creatures throughout the first episode and the last episode. And I think tying that into how mammals eventually were dying out and being taken over by the dinosaurs, and then they're eventually taking their world back for nowadays in modern times, I think is a nice note to tie the whole series together. How it started was basically how it ended. In terms of the storytelling of these episodes, they're all very episodic in nature. The first episode tells a story about coelophytes and how they're taking over, while other reptiles and mammals are slowly dying out, including the mighty Prostosuchus. The second episode, we follow Diplodocus and the rise of dinosaurs throughout the Jurassic period, where we discover a few other dinosaurs like Stegosaurus, Allosaurus, Brachiosaurus, and we see how they lived. Cruelty, we explore a lot of the sea life and how dinosaurs in oceans and waters might have been like, and how the creatures in the sea like Leopleurodon and a ton of others. There are some sharks in there too, prehistoric sharks. I think that is one of the most unique episodes. I love the whole ambiance of the ocean there. Giant of the Skies tells a story about an ornithopterus that is trying to migrate to meeting or nesting grounds, and it's probably the most unfocused because we have other dinosaurs we focus on apart from the ornithopterus because he goes through a natural character arc, but we follow other dinosaurs that don't connect to that arc at all. And so the whole story just feels like it is meandering, like it's a bunch of filler in a story-based episode, and it just doesn't work all that well. Spirits of the Ice Forest, we follow a lot of dinosaurs and how they lived in colder environments that we may not identify dinosaurs living in. And in terms of ambiance and tone and feel, that has the most magical and mystical feel of all of Walking with Dinosaurs, and I really like that about it. And how these creatures might have lived in cold environments was very interesting to learn about. And Death of a Dynasty tells a story about how all these dinosaurs would have eventually passed on. We follow a Tyrannosaurus trying to raise her babies, and unfortunately she succumbs to challenges of life as a dinosaur, and right after she passes on, the whole world just ends. And so we now transition to modern days, to where we are now, and we see a bunch of birds flying around, and we realize we've been walking with dinosaurs the whole time. A cheesy note to leave off on, but a happy one, because that episode is one of the darkest and bleakest episodes. Apart from all the hunting and killings in that episode and how the creatures tore each other to shreds, and how even the mighty Tyrannosaurus, despite how fearsome she is, can also be hurt and suffer in this world of dinosaurs. The atmosphere, the gas is leaking from the ground, just everything about this episode was sickening, and you really do feel like that the entire world is just going to shit, and that you just want the meteor to come out, put all these dinosaurs out of their misery, and just wipe the slate clean, really. So I love how episodic in nature these episodes are, how we focus on every single period that involved the dinosaurs, the Triassic, Jurassic, and Cretaceous, in great detail. In my opinion, my favorite episodes will have to be Death of a Dynasty, because I really like the ending and bleak tone. Cruel Sea, and the first episode, New Dawn. Land of the Giants is probably my favorite overall episode, like in terms of tone, dinosaur action, information, just everything about that episode worked beautifully for me. These favorite episodes, Spirits of the Ice Forest was pretty good, but not the most memorable, and I can understand why not a lot of people would remember this episode. But Giants of the Sky, the story was just too unfocused. It was fine, it was engaging, but I really feel like if they just focused more on the Ornithochirus and its story, then the ending, as tragic as it is, would have been even more tragic, and I would have had an even greater emotional impact on me. But overall, the stories themselves are still pretty good. Not an overall bad bunch or badly made episode. What also makes this documentary feel special and in many cases real was how it implemented its special effects in location. A lot of stuff was filmed on location. They went to real forests and environments and deserts to film all of these dinosaur scenes, and you really do feel the love and passion within that, but also the use of practical puppeteering and animatronic effects mixed in with CGI, I think worked beautifully here. While the CGI effects don't look as polished because CGI back then wasn't as high quality really, so you're not going to get that same level of detail as you would get with movies today. I still think those hold up pretty well, because for close-up shots and shots that they're able to do practically, they do. So they're able to spend a good amount of money on perfecting the CGI shots without being overbearing, just using those CGI shots whenever they absolutely need to, and using the practical effects for the close-ups, and they look beautiful. I love the level of detail, even the saliva that comes out of these dinosaurs' mouths, the scales, the wrinkly skin, just everything about these puppets and animatronics, how they moved, how they ate, how they even walked at times, just was so beautiful. The mix between these two effects is just fantastic. Not as good as Jurassic Park, but I think it implemented those same tools and how that movie was made very well here. And I feel like today more movies need to do that. Even Jurassic World Dominion, despite what you may think of that film, the fact that I was able to use practical effects a whole lot and only use the CGI whenever they need to, helped make that movie feel at least a bit more real, because the CGI effects were able to look even better because they were able to put more time and effort into what needs to be CGI. So there's a good reason why a lot of those special effects in Dominion look really good and will look really good later on in the future. And the information and storytelling here about how these dinosaurs looked, lived, and everything may be outdated today, but what I really like about how it portrayed these animals was that it portrayed them like animals. It portrayed them like animals with feelings, like they want to hunt, they hunt, but if they don't, they don't. If they need to back down from a fight, they do. And they don't just have them like solely attack. They have strategies. They have a way of hunting that is very interesting. They either are solo or they go in packs. or the dinosaurs will keep together as a pack-knit group to protect themselves and each other. I really like how these dinosaurs just didn't feel like movie monsters. Again, they feel like animals, and Kenneth Branagh's narration throughout all these 6 episodes was just beautiful. His voice sets the tone perfectly for this kind of show, gives it a sense of not just professionalism, but dignity as well. He made these dinosaurs feel respected, like ancient beings that once lived this earth needs to have a lot of respect due to how they live and everything. It's just, he was perfect for this kind of show. Overall, Walking with Dinosaurs I think holds up very well. There's a few hiccups here and there with the information, and that's due to it being now dated, but that's going to be a thing with all prehistoric shows. They're all going to be dated at some point, so I'm not going to hold it against that. And the CGI doesn't hold up as well as the practical effects, I'll admit, at times, but it still looks really good, even for its time, and even in some cases today, it looks better than even some modern day movies, I would say. This is a fantastic show, and if you are a dinosaur nerd like me and you haven't watched Walking with Dinosaurs, you need to watch it right now when you get the chance. Go to a local DVD shop if you can. You can usually find a copy of an old Walking with Dinosaurs DVD somewhere there. That's how I was able to get my DVD, and just give it a shot. Really, it's a fantastic dinosaur show and documentary within itself. I'm gonna give Walking with Dinosaurs an A. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment, and I will see you guys next time.